So it's been a little while since I've done one of these videos, and my brain's been working overtime. I think a lot of you know that when I have a piece or pieces to a puzzle that don't fit, my brain kind of goes into what I call brainstorming, and it's very normal, I guess, for most people to brainstorm whenever you've got a problem or something's going on. And you know, I've got a lot of pieces of the puzzle, and I've been digging a lot deeper now that I'm home and I have access to internet, and I'm trying to take the pieces that I have and put them together. And they may not fit correctly. I may not have this completely right. But I came to some realizations today that were scary. So let me kind of give some of the pieces that I'm working with. In July, CDC does a visit, and I'm waiting to find out whether or not why CDC came to visit the military lab at Fort Detrick in Maryland. So I haven't gotten that answer yet as to why they came to do a visit in July. But they came to do a visit in July and noted a lot of very serious issues that were going on at the lab, and wrote up a report with a lot of very severe things that were going on wrong there. And in October, some of our military athletes went over to Wuhan and got sick with what they said was an influenza. I don't know if those military athletes died or not. I'm still trying to find that out. It would be a big deal if they died, or you know, that kind of thing, if they weren't just treated. For young athletes to die from the flu would be extremely odd. So if there was actually deaths, that would be a big deal. I am looking into whether or not this virus has a different kind of biological warfare element to it, to the extent that it is possible that this virus is not something that just is coming from outside the body, but that the combination of the microchips that Bill Gates was working on and the combination of an aerosolized virus, that it is very possible that that it could that the military or the government could actually assassinate somebody with this microchip in a way that they could either activate the virus, activate an immune response within the body of where that virus is, or something to that nature. So I know this sounds really far-fetched, but it actually isn't, given the pieces that I've pulled up from the internet. I guess the microchip was used in fertility medicine to deliver up to 30 years of medication. 30 years of medication, if there was an accident and you got 30 years worth of medication in you, you would die instantly. So right there, we have the potential of an overdose or the potential of death in one microchip. So a microchip that can deliver that type of thing could also deliver a virus that's lethal. It could also deliver, so you know, take this thing and put it into the hands of a military regime or a country, and basically you just made what would have been a perfect murder had somebody not found out. But for those people that have found out, if they all have it in them, then all you have to do is turn it on and they're dead. So this person that you no longer want in the population because they are stirring up trouble is now eliminated, and it looks like a virus. It looks like a stroke. It looks like a heart attack. So yeah, so we're talking some pretty severe, some pretty big stuff here. The lab shut down and went to a new facility in July, which tells me that they either that there may have been a thing with contamination of that lab. There may have been evidence that they didn't want, and I don't know what they did with that lab. So somebody that can dig deeper than I can to find out what that building is now being used for that used to be the lab, and what things were going on with that would be important. Why the CDC was there? Did the military call them? Because it would be pretty typical for somebody that's wanting, if they think that they might get caught, to want to say it was an accident, and they would need proof that an accident could happen. So there's a lot of things that are going on here that make me a little nervous. Actually, that make me a lot nervous. I think we've all at some point come to terms with our death, but coming to terms with the fact that the government would be killing you, or coming to terms with the fact that you would be murdered by your own country, or murdered by people without others knowing that you were murdered, seems a pretty scary thought. But putting together these people and putting together the things that they've been pushing for the last 5-10 years, if you put them all together and you ask, okay, if I put all of these pieces of puzzle together, I put this vaccine that has a microchip that can deliver 30 years worth of drugs, I put them together with the military who is studying a virus that has the potential of killing somebody, and I start to think, okay, if these were children and they were messing around with this stuff in a lab to see, hey, how could we get this, this microchip into people? Could we use it in vaccinations? How would we keep it from being, recognized by other people? And you start to try and think about how kids would actually put this together. And of course, in the studying or trying to do that, you can see a lot of accidents possibly happening, and maybe not accidents. I'm not convinced that it's all accidents. So, as a mom and of a child that is extremely intelligent, that sometimes uses that intelligence in a way that at the least can be annoying to people, but can also be, not always smart. And boys tend to not be very smart. They tend to not think that what they're creating is actually for themselves. And we try to teach them about boomerangs and about how we put stuff out into the universe and it comes back to us. And so what we put out there is something, that when we're putting something out into the universe, it should be something that we want to come back to us, because it will. So when you're putting stuff out there, you have to make sure that you want that to happen to you. And I don't think that our military always thinks about that, and that's why they really didn't allow women in the military until very recently. And women have a different, we have a little bit of knowledge that boys don't have, that they're a little, that's why God put us together. when you do something, when you develop something, you want to make sure that you want that to come back to you. So if you're going to create a spy plane, you got to remember that you want somebody to spy on you, right? That's how it works. So when you do all of this stuff, it will come back to you. And you know, they tell you in the Bible, you know, put out there 10% and you'll get it back tenfold, right? So it's not just all the good stuff that you do that you get back tenfold. Do you realize that? Not just the good stuff. It's all of the stuff. That's everything. So I've seen it in my own life. I've been alive long enough to see that. And I've seen it in everybody I've ever known. So I just, you know, I know that this is like, you know, kind of sci-fi stuff. Maybe, you know, they're talking about, you know, you hear a lot of these people and they always say, oh, you might be schizophrenic if you think that you have a microchip planted in your brain or something. Guys, maybe they're not as stupid as they sound. And maybe actually those guys that are saying that are actually trying to set the stage so that when people start talking about them, there being a microchip in them, that people will really think that you're crazy instead of that you're actually being truthful, and that they won't take you seriously. So, yeah, I'm beginning to wonder where all, you know, it's like it all, the pieces start to be put together. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. And I hope, you know, I hope I get to live through it. If I'm sitting here talking about it and they don't like what I say, you know, maybe I won't be around so long. So, you know, we'll have to see how that goes. But with all of the people saying that they don't want autopsies done right now, I'm beginning to wonder why, you know, or not wonder why. I'm actually beginning to find out why. So I would say that these little microchips in these people that are dying suddenly, that they don't want them found. And I'm not really sure. I'd have to actually go back to look at Bill Gates' microchips that he's designed and that he's had out there to find out how you would actually scan somebody to find out if these little microscopic things are actually in these people that are dying suddenly. And I would definitely want to see the body of the whistleblower in China, because I would say that that is a really good chance. That somebody actually, yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. You know, these doctors and nurses that are working, that have knowledge of things that they have seen on the inside that might be different from what the world is being told. I would caution you about keeping your mouth shut. I would caution you that your very best chance of survival, if you know stuff that they're saying is different, your very best chance of survival is to be as loud as you possibly can about everything that you know. Because the more people that are loud and outspoken about what they know, and if those people are the ones that are dying, then you're building your case. We're building the case against our own government by putting that out there. And, you know, it's not often that they say you have to lay down your life for your country and for truth and for justice and for your children, but we might be having to do that. So I I would caution each of you that if you are holding on to secrets or holding on to truths that you have not been speaking about, and other people know that you know those truths, is to contact the media, contact whoever you can, and be as loud as you possibly can on Facebook about your fears, about what you know is true and what you know that they're lying about. So again, you know, I don't think that that this is any more possible than a coronavirus that is extremely deadly and honestly quite corrosive in the air when there's a lot of virus in the air. You know, I felt that in my eyes, in the membranes when I was on the plane. Viruses don't really do that. So I've never experienced a virus that did that. I don't know what it was, and I you know, I still don't know what they were putting in the air vents in the cruise ship. But there's a lot of questions here, and the questions are very integral to the top of government and the top of what's going on. And I'm at a very low level. I'm like a skin cell and they're like brain cells. And so my assessment of a brain cell is probably not going to be necessarily 100% correct. So I'm not even completely buying my own theory at this point. It's just a theory. And again, a lot of the pieces, they're adding up better than they would be in some other scenarios that I've had. Yeah, it's getting weird out there, guys. But I'll try to make some more videos as I kind of start having the enlightening thoughts and kind of stuff. But it's a really weird. This is getting really weird. This is getting beyond really weird. So stay safe.